So, here we are. The end of Sesshin, which gives birth to 7 Jukai Sangha members. What a beautiful way to end the Sesshin, isn't it? All the work, all the power that goes into it, all the power that comes out of it is directly related to giving rise to the continuation of the Dharma. And that's exactly what that is, a continuation of the Dharma. A ceaseless practice that can be made ceaseless because of what you do. It's not an idea. It's alive in you. An amazing moment. So the process of embracing spiritual practice is often experienced as a gradual movement from a small and contracted sense of self to an expanded and more inclusive sense of being. Usually begins with some unexplained pull towards wisdom traditions and a recognition of affinity with ancient teachings we may hear or read about. And one day, we find ourselves sitting in silence with a group of people we know very little about. And it feels mostly foreign and a bit familiar at the same time. And as time goes on, time goes by, the original affinity that brought us into practice, aka bodhicitta, is nurtured by the Sangha and the practice. That which was mostly foreign becomes a lot more familiar, leading to a growing interest in further embracing the practice, formalizing our intentions. And then we find ourselves naturally inquiring about Jukai, which at this point we may not know much about or know very little about, but we know enough. We know enough to obey the inner voice that says, it's time. It's time to drop the barrier. It's time to let the heart mind be nurtured and nurture others. It's time to take a chance and be all-inclusive. And the journey of Jukai begins with study, includes contemplation, deeply intimate personal examination, Soengarakusu, which is no small task. But above all that, there is the willingness to take on the precepts and work with them. During Jukai ceremony, this willingness is affirmed by the practitioner and witnessed and being supported by the Sangha. And taking on the precepts is a commitment to a personal process of a lifelong embodiment and deepening of what is considered living vows, which means the precepts are not to be seen as a set of rigid rules, but rather a continuous cultivation of openness to life as it manifests on a momentary basis, however it arises. And this is a commitment to meeting the unknown from being rooted in the Dharma. The meeting the unknown is not an option. The being rooted in the Dharma is. The Bodhisattva precepts are an actualized expression of Sila, which means morality. But viewing morality as a standalone practice leads to rigidity, self-righteousness. In our tradition, jhana, zazen, is the furnace that burns up harmful tendencies and transmutes delusion into wisdom, which is known as prajna. And actualized prajna manifests as sila. Jhana, prajna, and sila. Zazen gives rise to wisdom. Wisdom gives rise to working with precepts in accordance with the understanding that all things are of the same nature, same origin. Through Zazen, we recognize the causes of internal disharmony and misalignment, and we take the responsibility to see clearly and harmonize with reality. And through working with the precepts, we share this process with the rest of humanity. The words of Shantideva get to the heart of the matter, what it means to be a bodhisattva. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector for those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a bridge for those with rivers to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without a light, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, and a servant to all in need. That's what it means to be a bodhisattva. And that is a lifelong endeavor, which we really never fully exhaust. So, let's begin. Eiryu, Jukai. Make sure you leave some room there for them to pass. We can expand it afterwards. So just push that cushion against this one, and after they process, after they come in, you can expand it. friend. Eiryui, can you expand the question? Why are you here?
I request the preceptor and the Eiryu-ji community to allow me to receive the vows of the Buddha. I wish to deepen my commitment to Zen practice in the spirit of the awakened ones and enlightened ancestors of our lineage.
You have all shown great dedication to the practice, commitment, sincerity. Very encouraging to see. And we all welcome you to the community and to the tradition.
Please face the altar. With all your heart, with all your strength, with all your spirit, and fully present, please make 3 full bows to the Buddha. with all your heart, with all your spirit, with all your strength, and fully present, please make one full bow to your friend. With all your heart, with all your spirit, with all your strength, and fully present, please make one full bow to your presenter.
We are going to begin with the Heart Sutra. now invite members of our ancestral lineage and all great spiritual beings to witness and bless this ceremony. Please put your hands in Gasho. Namuji Bob, Namuji Ho, Namuji Ho, Namu Honji, Shakyamuni Butsu, Namu Dai Zu Dai, Ikyugu, Ganze on Boza, Namu Dai Ji, Fugen Boza, Namu Dai Ji, Manjushi Boza, Namu Koso Joyo Daishi, Namu Daiso Josai Daishi, Namu Riki Daisho Shi Bosatsu. Keep your hands in Gasho. Being one with our original teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Being one with the embodiment of compassion, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. Being one with the embodiment of love, Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. Being one with the embodiment of wisdom, Manjushri Bodhisattva. Being one with the embodiment of children and the earth, Jizo Bodhisattva. Being one with the founders of the Japanese Soto School, Eihei Dogen and Soji Keizan, honored ones. Being one with the founder of the White Lama Sangha, Taizan Maizumi, honored one. To prepare ourselves for this ceremony, we will chant together the return to oneness. Sutra books.
Return to oneness, page 1.
Return to
Now I am Valokana Buddha, sitting on the lotus seat upon 1,000 lotus flowers, 1,000 Buddhas manifest. Now I am Valokana Buddha, sitting on the lotus seat upon 1,000 lotus flowers, 1,000 Buddhas manifest. Now I am Vairocana Buddha, sitting on the lotus seat upon 1,000 lotus flowers, 1,000 Buddhas manifest. Our precepts originated in the Sangha of Shakyamuni Buddha, and their spirit has been transmitted through the bloodline of our lineage during the past 2,500 years. We have received these 16 precepts as maintained by the Soto Zen tradition, and I will now transmit them to you. The precepts, our 16 Bodhisattva precepts, begin with a commitment to take refuge in the three treasures, which are the heart of Buddhist teachings and its embodiment. Taking refuge in the Buddha. The fundamental teaching of Buddhism is rooted in an understanding that everyone is endowed with Buddha nature through self. And so to take refuge in the Buddha means to trust that which is inherent, that which is beyond arising and vanishing, beyond birth and death. Wisdom and right action flow out of a realization that all things are of interdependent origination. Taking refuge in the Dharma. The Dharma reflects the inviolable law of all things, which is the self-organizing principle of the universe. It is not subjected to circumstances and conditions, or to our own personal opinions. It is simply the way suchness manifests through diversity. All Buddhist teachings originate out of this unbreakable truth. And so to take refuge in Dharma means to merge with the higher intelligence of the universe rather than to oppose it. Taking refuge in the Sangha. The Sangha is a manifestation of harmony. Us, group of people who get together to uphold the practice, help and support each other through the highs and lows of life. A way to create small-scale Dharma-based communities. So waiting to the world for the world to start acting in the same ways. A Bodhisattva is the one who takes the initiative to create a loving, cooperative, and supportive environment. As Gandhi said, to be the change you want to see in the world. And so to take refuge in the Sangha means to inspire, encourage, and nurture each other's practice. And do all we can to maintain the vitality of the Sangha so it does not fall apart. Because it can fall apart. And begin the invocation of the three treasures. Please put your hands in Gashu. Namu kiye butsu namu kiye ho namu kiye so kiye butsu mujo san kiye ho eijin san kiye so wago san kiye bukyo kiye hokyo kiye so kyo. Please stand. Repeat after me. I vow to take refuge in Buddha as an expression of oneness.
I vow to take refuge in Buddha as an expression of oneness.
I vow to take refuge in Dharma as an expression of diversity.
I vow to take refuge in Dharma as an expression of diversity.
I vow to take refuge in Sangha as an expression of community.
I vow to take refuge in Sangha as an expression of unity.
Please make 3 full vows. Create harm. This means to take on the responsibility to think, to speak, and to act in ways that do not cause harm or suffering. I vow to not create harm. Will you maintain this?
I vow to not create harm.
The second of the pure precepts is to practice goodness. It means to be in the world as a vehicle for goodness in all circumstances and at all times. To do good just for the sake of doing good, without expecting any reward or recognitions. I vow to practice good. Will you maintain this?
I vow to practice good.
The third pure precept is to actualize good for others. This means to transcend the small sphere of our personal lives, bridge the gap between self and other, and dedicate our lives to the well-being of all creation. It is to become a force of goodness and consciously act in ways that benefit others by letting go of the small self, living a life of service to others, become as simple as scratching leaves. I vow to actualize good for others. Will you maintain this?
I vow to actualize good for others.
Please make 3 full vows. The way we actualize the 3 pure precepts in our everyday life. As practitioners, we take on the responsibility to intersect habitual patterns by paying close attention and becoming fully engaged while functioning as human beings in a society. I vow to nurture life. I will not kill. The first of the great precepts is to affirm life, to not kill. Actualize non-harming means nurturing and supporting life in a non-discriminating way. It means to deeply appreciate the precious net of creation in all its varied manifestations. I vow to nurture life. I will not kill. Will you maintain this?
I vow to nurture life. I will not kill.
Please bow. To examine the mind of desire and greed, and to give up one's covetousness. This means to realize inherent completion of all things, and to recognize that a sense of lack is only an illusion. I vow to be giving, I will not steal. Will you maintain this?
I vow to be giving, I will not steal.
To honor the body, to not misuse sexuality. Recognizing our physical desires and impulses, we commit to working with these energies in ways that do not create harm to ourselves or others. Understanding the sexual nature of our bodies, we vow to be responsible for the way we express it and cultivate respect and dignity in all relationships. I vow to honor the body. I will not misuse sexuality. Will you maintain this?
I vow to honor the body. I will not misuse sexuality.
Fourth great precept is to manifest truth, to not lie. To understand the Dharma is to realize that everything is completely exposed and all things are of the same nature. So we devote ourselves to deeply examine the desire to lie and learn to courageously own up to our thoughts, words, and actions while standing firmly in the Dharma ground. Being rooted in the practice, we vow to speak from the heart and to listen wholeheartedly. I vow to manifest truth. I will not lie. Will you maintain this?
I vow to manifest truth. I will not lie.
Fifth great precept, cultivate clarity, to not cloud the mind. This precept sheds light on our propensity to act in ways that originate in ignorance, not appreciating the preciousness of life. We poison our mind with intoxicants that drive us to speak and act in harmful and hurtful ways. Through cultivating clarity of mind, we recognize and work through our pain instead of clouding ourselves with intoxicants. The Buddha mind is originally pure and clear. Do not let it become cloudy. I vow to cultivate clarity. I will not cloud the mind. Will you maintain this?
I vow to cultivate clarity. I will not cloud the mind.
The sixth great precept is to see the inherent perfection, to not speak of others' errors and faults. As the faith of mind says, one has many kinds, two have no duality. To realize equality is to recognize that while appearances vary, we are all of the same origin. Our unexamined fears and insecurities drive us to speak of others' errors and faults, which lead to discrimination, hatred, and violence. I vow to realize equality. I will not speak of others' errors and faults. Will you maintain this?
I vow to realize equality. I will not speak of others' errors and faults.
The seventh great precept is to recognize the illusory nature of separate existence and to realize that self and others are not two. To elevate oneself is to operate under the falsehood of a grasping self that seeks self-preservation through some form of tyranny. By practicing humility and embracing not knowing, we realize that there is no self to elevate and no other to belittle. I vow to practice humility. I will not elevate the self and blame others. Will you maintain this?
I vow to practice humility. I will not elevate the self and belittle others.
The eighth great precept is to share generously, to not cultivate a possessive mind. To recognize no fixed self is to realize that no one can grasp, nothing can be grasped. This realization opens up the door to acts of generosity that are essentially traceless and self-fulfilling. When self and other are dropped, generosity is boundless. I will share generously. I will not be withholding. Will you maintain this?
I will share generously. I will not be withholding.
The ninth great precept cultivate patience as an antidote to anger. We actualize harmony by cultivating kindness. It's a commitment to being in the world as an expression of loving kindness that is seeking and cultivating harmony in the midst of diversity and differences. This is a commitment to observe the arising anger and to mindfully transform it to compassionate action. Every day we are presented with many opportunities to face our own intense emotions, process them in the light of wisdom, and transmute the impurities into healing words and actions. To not be angry does not mean to not experience it. It is a commitment to not identify with the arising emotion and thus allowing for the possibility to transmute it. I will cultivate patience. I will not be angry. Will you maintain this?
I will cultivate patience. I will not be angry.
Devout devotion to the practice, to not defile the three treasures. When we fully devote ourselves to the practice, we develop an experiential and intimate understanding of why Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha are considered treasures. Here we encounter again the practice of appreciation as we dive deeply into our true nature, the essential teachings, and our supported community. Through devotion to daily zazen and all other aspects of practice, we become a living embodiment of our wisdom tradition. I vow devotion to the practice. I will not defile the three treasures. Will you maintain this?
I vow devotion to the practice. I will not defile the three treasures.
Vows in oneness with the Eiryu-ji community.
I make these vows in oneness with the Eiryu-ji community.
And I will cultivate my practice for the welfare of all creation.
And I will cultivate my practice for the welfare of all creation.
Please seal the commitment with three vows. Now that you've received the precepts, will you maintain them?
I will.
Just yes, together.
Yes.
Okay. So we have to do it again. Will you maintain them well?
Yes.
One more chance. Will you maintain them with all your heart, all your spirit, and all your strength?
Yes.
Okay, please be seated.
When sentient beings receive the precepts, all karmic bonds are released, and enlightenment is instantly manifested. Truly, I am now a descendant of the enlightened ones.
Let's chant together the verse of the robe.
Verse of the robe, page 1.
Monastery. teaching, say your creation.
So, here's the unknown part of the ceremony. You have to give you names. Otherwise you can't go anymore. It's a very interesting part. The Dharma names are a very interesting part of our tradition for different reasons. And again, like many other aspects of life, it's not just a quaint thing that we do because it has been done before. It has deep meaning. We come into practice with a lot of baggage. We carry it through the practice with us. And with that baggage, well, that baggage has a name. The name is associated with everything we have gone through up to this moment. And what we are working with as we take on precepts, we're working with recognizing all the baggage, right? Recognizing karma, all the entanglements, and stepping into, again and again, stepping into the fresh, the new, the never before. So the purpose of a Dharma name is to help us individually and as a Sangha, remind us the teachings. So it reminds us the teachings in general, but it has a very personal meaning and connection. Names are born out of a deep and intimate connection between teacher and student. They come up in a way. Sometimes more easily than other times, but it just comes up. You look at different names, you look at different combinations, and you sit with it for a while and it doesn't feel good, and then you chuck it and then try something else. And it has to sound well and it has to fit well. So, we have names. Let's open it up. Christine, where'd you come from? So, many conversations that we've had, lots of different expressions, koans. And then every time something arises in you, something from within, something unrecognized but felt from within, from deep. From where you are, right? Brings tears to your eyes, as it does now. And it's a place you reside in, right? Wherever you happen to be is there. Because it's placeless. Dharma abode, where you are, wherever you find yourself. So the name, Dharma abode. Hoju. Ho is Dharma. So please carry it well and remind us that wherever we are, this is the Dharma. You don't do anything. It's going to come up with that whole room. So each of you will receive one of those beautiful envelopes made by our dear friend Bob. There you go. Fine. So, I just want to note that they're married. And it is quite astonishing to see them, how they practice, how they support each other. An amazing example of Dharma couple. Amazing example. So, very important to make a note of. How they practice together. So they have 2 kids, and so one of them in the morning is with the kids and the other one is sitting with the son on Zoom. And they alternate. And every other Sunday you see one of them in the morning showing up in person. Same with other guys. And apparently not for sashimi. So thank you for working together so well. So, you know, there is something in you that is deep observation, deep contemplation, quiet examination. And it actually echoes our practice, our tradition of silent illumination. Quietly observing, allowing it to emerge within. So, new name, quiet way, Jakudo. Quiet way, as in silent illumination. So, the more quiet we are, the better we can hear. Right? The more loud we are, the more of ourselves that we hear. Jakudo. So Moko is kind of like the mother of the Sangha. I think you agree. She tends to jump in and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of right away. She is very quick to take over, take charge, and do what needs to be done without too many conversations. And during this Jukai, it was actually very apparent. Right, so she also happens to be a seamstress, which comes in very handy when sewing a rakusu. Right, so she created, many times she created meetings, Zoom meetings to work together on rakusu, to have tea and sewing session. And guiding, yeah, I see somebody bowing. Guiding, instructing, encouraging people. helping them get through the frustration of sowing and then reaping seeds, and sowing again. So you have that energy of reaching everywhere and caring for everybody. And I wanted to, so Jifu, obviously, your daughter, right? I wanted to make a connection between the names. So Universal Heart is your new name, which is actually Fushin. Now, it's not the same character as Jifu, but it's the same sound. So now you're going to share that too. So Fushin. So, Fushin, she made references for everybody. And I asked her, is there one you like? She said, you choose. So I did. You on the same page? Okay. Joan, do you want to bring your little bench with you? So, we've been through a lot together. We've gone through all kinds of ups and downs, and drifting away, coming back, drifting away, coming back, but then staying. You've been practicing for a while. You've been going through healing, your own healing, and you also happen to be a healer, healing others, working with others. That's your life, that's your profession. And the essence of healing, right? What is it that's healing? Right? In terms of the Dharma, in terms of light of wisdom, which you have been drifting away from and coming back, but now have been consistently with it for quite a while. So, your name, Healing Light, Jisho, Healing Light. Keep coming back to that. She kept asking me different times, you already know my name? And I said, yeah. I said, no. And at some point I said, yes. And that's it. And now we continue the conversation.
Boundary ones.
Jeremy. So one
recurring theme, right, that we've been going back to is fully embracing whatever you do, wherever you happen to be. So we are not here but thinking about that, but also being here, right? Dialing it in, bring everything to one total full embrace. Right? And you have been going in that direction, right? Especially over the past few months, going deeply into Jukai study. So I wanted that to be a part of your name. Wholehearted embrace, total embrace. Yose. Different character than Zen, but same sound. Yose. G. So, what do you need most in terms of practice, in terms of life? Many times through our conversations, it started with some buzz, some issue, something going on, and we work together to bring it back to the ground, to here, to finding our way to the rootedness of being. Right? And this sesshin actually culminates very well with Jermaine, because it brought it back. You went through all kinds of stuff, especially at the beginning, and things have changed. A lot has settled down since the beginning, right? So the sesshin itself actually is a great example of what you've been going through since you started practicing with us. So it works very well. Finding that ground, finding the source again and again. So the new name, ground source, Genda. It will remind you. So use it well. Vince. We have actually 3 families here. It's very interesting, right? It's 1, 2, and Dad is over there. And of course, you guys. Keep coming back. So, we've known each other for quite a while. How many years is it? When did you start practicing?
Which practice?
I
middle school, maybe like 12.
How many years is it?
Well, now I'm 20, so I don't know, 8 years.
9 years and 9 years. Yeah. Yeah, and so we've known each other since you were very young. And you went through incredible transformation. Incredible transformation. And I actually I was fortunate enough to witness it, to be a part of it. And I see how much courage you have in you. And what I saw is a sense of being misaligned until you realize what you needed to do to find alignment within you. So within and without became one. Right? It's quite a journey. You are now a lot more authentic. You are now much more authentic to what's within. And what comes out is that authentic essence. Or expressing the essence authentically. So now you have to keep going and keep expressing the essence authentically. So your new name, Authentic Essence, Zuisho. Very fitting. You knew it before I did. Now we got one. Okay, we have to wrap it up, but we'll have time to chat over lunch. Alright, so what we're going to do now is recognize this ceremony. And we're all going to stand up. Not just yet. We're all going to stand up, and the recipients will be led around and will bow to each of us, each of you personally. So please bow back. While we do that, we're going to chant together, and please show us an example of that.
Budam saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami.
So we keep chanting again and again until they bow to everybody. So stand up, please. Can we move those cushions so you guys can pass through? You can squeeze them together.
And then we've got one. So then Joan, and bow to everybody.
Budam saranam gacchami.
Sangam Saranam Gacchami. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangam Saranam Gacchami. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangam Saranam Gacchami.
We're going to conclude with the 4 vows. Before we do, I just want to mention our dear friend Meishin from Bermuda, who was also part of this. Was a group of 8. Is a group of 8. So Meishin is in Bermuda. Yoga and I went to Bermuda in August to conduct Jukai ceremony there for her. Because of COVID restrictions, it did not work out for her to come. So Meishin is also part of this group. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's finish 4 vows. I don't think you need sutra.
Bodhisattva vows for all.
Creations are rest. I vow to freedom. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. Reality is boundless. I vow to perceive it. The enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it.
Let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time swiftly passes by and opportunity is lost. Each of us must strive to awaken. Awaken. Take heed. Do not squander your life.